Welcome to the news on Zodiac. I am Chancellor Zabanda. Here are the headlines. Graft-busting body ACB to interview former President Peter Mutharika on the cement importation scandal. 60 inmates test positive for COVID-19 following a mass testing exercise at Maula Prison in Lilongwe. Public and private sector officials tout the signing of economic partnership agreement with the EU. And in sports, technical panel for the under-20 national football team to embark on a 2-week nationwide player identification exercise. Now we'll give you the news in detail. The Anti-Corruption Bureau says it will interview former President Peter Mutharika in the ongoing investigation process into the allegations of abuse of the former president's taxpayer identification number TPIN. A letter signed by ACB Principal Public Relations Officer Egritendala stated that this is a normal and legal process which started in 2020. The interview will start from July 20. Andrew Viano caught up with ACB Principal Public Relations Officer Egritendala.
It's in relation to an investigation which the ACB has been conducting since 2020 on the alleged abuse of the former president's TPIN number, and this is a process that is ongoing, and at this point in time we would like to interview the former president. This interview is scheduled for the 20th of July, and as we are saying, it's just an interview where the Bureau would actually like to get a statement from the former head of state. It's an ongoing investigation which started in 2020, as we are saying. So it's not like it's a new investigation. It's an investigation. The Bureau has been working on it. It has been investigating the matter. And now, at this point in time, it would like to hear from the former head of state.
Health authorities say the recent rise in COVID-19 deaths in the country is largely due to delays by the sick in seeking medical assistance and increasing dependence on self-medication. Spokesperson for the Ministry of Health, Adrian Chigumbe, says the death of 25 people within 24 hours yesterday is a reflection of the extent of the problem. A health expert, Precious McKee, says as much as using the homemade medicines is helping, it does not cure the disease, hence the need to seek proper medication at the hospital. We have a report filed by Western Guta.
According to the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, the rise in COVID-19 cases is due to reporting to hospitals late, where sometimes people take to the health facilities dead bodies. Spokesperson for the Ministry of Health, Adrian Chigumbe, says many people seek medical attention late, opting for homemade medicines as well as purchasing medicines at drugstores instead of seeking proper medical assistance at hospitals. He adds that myths surrounding the pandemic are actually leading to this unfortunate development.
We are trying to advise all private health facility owners, once they notice somebody showing signs of COVID-19 and they know their facility has not been designated as a treatment center by government, to quickly refer these patients to appropriate facilities.
Reacting to the report, a health expert, Precious McKee, says as much as using the homemade medicines is helping, it does not cure the disease, hence the need to seek proper medication at the hospital.
The behavior currently is that the hospitals are bad. People are not really available to go to the hospital, even if when they are sick. So I think we need to ensure that people should trust the hospital so that whenever they feel not fine, they should be really avail themselves to the health facilities without any issues.
Some Malawians have been using blue gum tree leaves and lemons, among others, to treat symptoms of the disease. On Thursday, the country registered the record number of cases and deaths since the country started administering the vaccine, which is also out of stock now. Reporting for Zodiac, this is Western Guta.
Well, as you might have noticed, COVID-19 deaths and cases are on the rise again, with hospitals struggling to cope. Kamuzu Central Hospital is meanwhile extending its isolation center to an incomplete building that was meant to be an Ebola treatment center adjacent to the hospital's mortuary. Hospital Director Dr. Jonathan Ngoma confirms in this interview with Daniel Mawawa.
Basically, at KCH, we're managing COVID-19 based on the space that we have. As you can see that in January, when we had to go to Bingu, we were taken unawares. But after the second wave, we prepared ourselves. We created more space, and we're creating more space within the hospital.
Do you foresee a scenario where you would still need space at Bingu National Stadium within the city?
It can happen. That's the reason why we have not abandoned that place. Our equipment is still there in case the waste goes to the west. But for now, I think we have enough space through which we can look after our patients.
There are now concerns emerging that the place where you'd like to extend your ward to, which was meant to be an Ebola isolation center, is just meters away from the mortuary. And concerns from onlookers say, why have you decided to put COVID-19 patients just that close to the mortuary?
Within the perimeters of the hospital, you can have a mortuary or anywhere. Deaths are happening everywhere in the hospital. And within the hospital sector, there's really nothing special. And even if you go to hospitals worldwide, you find so-called mortuaries within the wards where people move. So to us, we don't see any problem.
60 inmates have tested positive for COVID-19 following a mass testing exercise underway at the congested Maula prison in Lilongwe. Zodiak has established that the positive cases are from 420 samples. They still have more inmates to test. This has reignited need for more space. Alinafe Mlambas filed this report.
Sources have told us that Maula prison in Lilongwe has registered 60 new COVID-19 cases in the past 48 hours. The results are from a mass testing exercise which has begun at the reformatory facility and is expected to continue in the next few days. 420 samples were taken from inmates in 2 prison cells, and inmates from 23 more cells are yet to be tested. Prison spokesperson Chimwemwe Shawa requested for more time before commenting on this matter. Overcrowding has been a dire situation at Maula prison, leading to devastating effects in efforts to control the pandemic. Zodiak has also established that the prison requires personal protective equipment as well as medical equipment to contain the outbreak. Health rights activist Maziko Matemba has since called on authorities to intervene with necessary support.
Prisons are places where people are confined, and there are many people in those prisons. So would wish to see that those prisoners who are found to be COVID positive, they should be isolated. I'm aware that maybe we might not have adequate space. Now I call upon the authorities to find a better way.
Maula prison was intended to accommodate 800 inmates, but now has up to 3,000 inmates.
Kaningina Forest Reserve in Nzuzu is under threat of depletion as people are flocking to the forest to cut trees as they wish. The forest is well known for prayers and other recreation activities. As we find out, the forest is also slowly turning into a dump site for waste. The development threatens to kill Lunyangwa River, which is Northern Region Water Board's main water source. Nomsa Zimba visited the forest and put together this report.
This is what used to be a thick forest with natural vegetation and home to a lot of wildlife. Not until when people discovered it offered a best environment for prayers, where people would go to meditate while having the view of the whole Mzuzu city and enjoying the cool breeze from Lake Malawi, which lies down west of the mountain. Slowly, people have been invading the mountain with some faith ministries, even establishing their makeshift prayer houses. They cut trees to create large space for worshipping. Mr. Kumbo Madise has been in the mountain for 4 years running his faith-to-faith ministry. He attests that forestry officials have twice bent his church in attempts to vacate him until he engaged a lawyer. He claims the people who go to the mountain for prayers should be left alone as their mission is to pray.
So when the forest people came, they came with warning letters, and when they brought the warning letters, then they said, you must leave. I said, I cannot leave because God told me to be here. They gave us 2 weeks that we must leave. Then in 2 weeks when they came, I said, no, God hasn't told me to leave, so I cannot leave. Then they bent. When they bent the shelters, they went. And then when I built the second time, they came again and they bent everything. And then from there, we have this lawyer, and then he granted the permission for me to be here.
Apart from those that go for prayers, lately the mountain has suffered serious deforestation by charcoal burners and some who are even harvesting the indigenous trees for timber which they freely smuggle into the city. The worst and imaginable is that part of the forest has also turned into a dump site. This is despite the fact that it acts as a catchment area for Runyangwa River, a source for Gariva Dam, where Northern Region Water Board taps its water to supply to Mzuzu and other surrounding areas. But commenting on the matter, Principal Officer from Mzuzu Forest Department, Gloria Mankambira, says all those residing and encroaching the Kaningina forest are doing so against the law.
The people who are saying that they were given an authorization from Forest Department to reside in the forest reserve, I don't think they are saying the truth. And no court, we haven't seen any judgment or court order allowing people to be residing in the forest reserve. So as of now, I can say they are residing illegally.
But as it stands, a stitch in time will help save the beauty, the resource that Kaningina Mountain is.
Chibuku Products Limited has put on hold plans to retrench 30% of its labor force. The company's operations manager, William Sitima, says the company's financial position is recovering thanks to the reduction of import excise duty from 30% to 10% on OPEC beer. He said this yesterday when Minister of Industry Roy Kachali visited the company in Blantyre. Happy Njalamanu has filed this report read by Hastings Jimani.
Operations manager at Chibuku Products Limited says their products were very uncompetitive on the market due to influx of illegal imports. William Steamer says the company was almost on the deathbed and was considering laying off 30% of labor until government reduced import excise duty on OPEC beer.
In response to that, you have seen in some areas we have done strategic pricing, especially areas around the border. Because of this positiveness in sales volume, you have heard there are plans that, like the Mangochi region, if the volume continues with the trend it is now, there are plans that will open that factory, and that will end up into creation of jobs in that region.
Minister of Industry Roy Kachali paid the company a visit on Thursday in Blantyre.
We also agreed that if we were to reduce their taxes, that the result would be that they would be paying more taxes, the Malawi government. And so I just came to find out if that would be the position, and it seems like we are headed in the right direction.
Finance Minister Felix Mlusu announced in his budget statement new measures for domestic taxes and customs and excise that include a reduction of import excise duty from 30% to 10% on OPEC beer.
You're watching the news here on Zodiak. We'll be back with more after this.
I got a call from my driver telling me that my motor vehicle was involved in an accident in Balaka. I was shocked and very worried, considering that the car was only 4 months old.
Get your vehicle covered against road accidents, fire, theft, and third-party liabilities at CIC General Insurance Limited.
I submitted all my claim documents to my insurer, CIC, and within 14 days, I got my settlement through a bank transfer. I was very delighted and inspired. Later, I managed to purchase a replacement vehicle. Throughout the process, CIC staff were very diligent, friendly, accommodating, and professional all the time.
Our professional and friendly staff will ensure that you get the best customer experience that is second to none. For more information, visit our offices in Lilongwe at Area 3 Judge Building, opposite the District Commissioner's office. And in Blantyre, visit our offices at Livingstone House behind Plantation House.
I recommend CIC all day, every day for all your insurance needs.
CIC. We keep our word.
Masombenya amalawi watojukula malawi 2063 akale wozimi abaye ufika 2063 akale wokomera aliyense achinyamata tigwira ne manja tojukula malawi achinyamata tikale patsogolo tojukula malawi malawi wozimi abaye malawi wokomera aliyense Malawi 2063 kusinda dziko lathu mokomera aliyense.
This marriage is a punishment for you, and you are going to be suffering for the rest of your life.
I thought you'd married some supermodel. Who?
Coma Narero. Narero. Alipitileni Go TV Mosavuta. Just dial *247# to pay your Go TV or DSTV subscription. Narero. Standard Bank. It can be.
Welcome back. A look at the headlines as we continue. Graft-busting body ACB to interview former President Peter Mutharika on the cement importation scandal. 60 inmates test positive for COVID-19 following mass testing exercise at Maula prison in Lilongwe. And in sports, technical panel for the Under-20 national football team to embark on a 2-week nationwide player identification exercise. Now moving on with the news, public and private sector officials say the signing and ratification of economic partnership agreement with the European Union, EU, has the potential to enhance investment and strengthen economic development in the country. Speaking during the opening of better regulation and trade framework reforms in Blantyre on Friday, Secretary for Trade Christina Zakeo said trade reforms are vital as they create vibrant market economy. JTI Malawi Corporate Affairs and Communication Director Limbani Gakome says a well-balanced trade regulatory environment can aid Malawi in its export drive. The state of roads in the country may not improve as expected because funding for maintenance of the roads has been choked by a decision by the Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority, MERA. In the last 3 months, MERA, in consultation with Treasury, reduced roads maintenance fuel levy by 4% to cushion anticipated hike in fuel pump prices. The effect of the development has been that the value of road maintenance works offered to close to 300 bidders valued at about 8.4 billion kwacha has been halved, which experts say will affect the quality of the contract works going forward. Andrew Viano has filed this report.
Since April this year, the Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority MERA quietly reduced the roads maintenance fuel levy from 11% to 7% in a bid to cover anticipation of a fuel hike. The thinking at the time was that the reduction would only be for 3 months, but it continues to date, and the effect is that the roads authority cannot raise enough for road maintenance. Board chair for the authority, George Ngani, confirmed the development to us, saying the turn of events has affected their ability to offer quality road maintenance works now.
It is incumbent upon the key shareholder of our institution, which is government itself. So Capitol Hill, after holding some discussions, we hope they will find a way of filling the gap so that the result or the effect of reducing the fuel levy don't become detrimental to the work of road maintenance.
According to Chingani, 300 contractors were already identified for maintenance works valued at 8.4 billion kwacha, but their scope of work has been reduced to cost the available 4.2 billion kwacha. While the Roads Authority is worried at the scenario, MERA and Treasury are pushing responsibility to each other on who has the last say on rectifying the anomaly. Fitina Konje speaks for MERA. She says the decision was made by all stakeholders, including RFA, with the aim to manage fuel pricing without crippling road maintenance works in the country. But the decision to lift the reduction, she says, rests with Treasury.
The levies that are there on the fuel price buildup, most of them are determined by government, particularly the Ministry of Finance. And MERA is just an implementer in the sense that our duty is to collect the levy and then submit the collections to the appropriate institutions. So in this case, we will be advised as MERA as when to reinstate the road levy in full.
Ironically, finance spokesperson Williams Banda tells us the understanding that it is MERA that has mandated to lift the reduction and revert to the original for FRA to collect the levy as before. Banda nevertheless says Treasury has not received any complaint from FRA on the effect that the levy reduction is having on plans to rehabilitate roads in the country.
We have also not received any complaints from the road fund administration that they are failing to maintain roads because of insufficient funds. Fuel levies are managed by Malawi Energy Regulatory Authorities, but the Treasury or Minister of Finance is the custodian of the Public Finance Management Act.
It is estimated that road maintenance in Malawi requires about $50 million, about 40 billion kwacha annually. These finances derive from the road maintenance fuel levy and not the annual budget.
Now, let's go to sports. The technical panel for the Malawi Under-20 national football team is soon going on a 2 weeks nationwide player identification exercise in readiness for forthcoming tournaments. Assistant coach Charles Kamanga says they are targeting over 80 players who will go into camp to start the preparations for the Kosafa Cup in December. Kamanga says this is a long-term plan as they are looking for players below 18 years who will play together for at least 3 years. Our sports reporter Bright Kanyama has fired this report.
According to the Junior Flames assistant coach Charles Kamanga, the talent identification exercise will run from this weekend in all the districts, and those selected from the districts will undergo further trials at regional level before making it into the final list of 80 players at national level. Kamanga says they have set some conditions which among others include selecting players born after 1st January 2003 to December 2004. He added that they have decided against selecting players from the Super League and instead they want to have talented and young players from all angles of the nation.
There are some players that are failing to show their talent because past years we have been busy looking for under-20 players in Tottenham Super League, who is not on. That's why we decided to check good players in the district because there are some players cheating in age. So to avoid those things, that's why we decided to go each and every district, including Likoma, Chizumuru.
However, sports analyst George Kaldamasina has questioned the move, arguing that Football Association and the Under-20 technical team should consider using already existing structures to select players like the First Capital Under-20 League and Presidential Under-17 League.
We have got an Under-20 league, district leagues and regional leagues. This is where we are supposed to get players. We don't assemble players for a tournament and select players at the same time like that. It doesn't work like that. People have to be monitored.
The Malawi national under-20 football team is expected to compete in this year's Kosafa Cup, slated for December in South Africa. For Zodiac, this is Bright Kanyama.
And that's about what we had time for in this news edition, but before we go, a look at the headlines. Graft-busting body ACB to interview former President Peter Mutharika on the cement importation scandal. 60 inmates test positive for COVID-19 following mass testing exercise at Maula Prison in Lilongwe. In sports, technical panel for the Under-20 national football team to embark on a 2-week nationwide player identification exercise. Visit our website zodiacmalawi.com for more news. My name is Chansamuel Zabanda. Thanks for watching and have a nice weekend.